Hello everyone, welcome back to my Patreon. So today we have an exciting topic. It's also a very big topic, so that's why today I'm just starting to make this compilation of short videos, and then later I will combine it to one tutorial, one big tutorial, or maybe I will split it into two or something like that. But today we start with halftones. There is so much information about it I can share with you, because it's not a secret that many of you have issues with these halftones, and this is one of the reasons which demotivates you from playing duduk and even leaving duduk completely, because you cannot play the most favorite musical compositions that you like on duduk just because of this stupid halftones, you know. Some of the advices I never got from any teacher in Armenia. I just kind of came to them by myself, and those advices are all also like unique advices I will also share with you. So, for example, most of you, of course, have the duduk in A, and do you have an idea why it is always recommended to start learning duduk with the key of A? Do you know why? Why not B flat, or why not C duduk? Well, everybody learns on A duduk, and then even later for advanced players, it's the most common key to play solo duduk. This is because of the very balanced length of A duduk. It's longer than B flat, it's longer than B, it's longer than C, but it's shorter than quite a challenging G duduk in terms of blowing power, or F duduk. So it's kind of in the middle, and it has also a stable sound due to its length. The sound is much more stable than on B duduk or on C duduk. On shorter duduks, it's harder to play. Basically, it's harder to keep a stable sound, and on A duduk, it's easier. It's easier to learn halftones on A duduk than on B flat duduk. It's easier to learn it on A duduk, on B flat duduk than on B duduk, and on B duduk than on C duduk. Why? Because of the stability of the sound. That's why if you have problems on playing halftones on duduk in A, my first suggestion is grab a G duduk or F duduk. I mean, probably the best way after A duduk is simply try the G duduk, because it's the next key. And then you will realize that playing halftones on G duduk is easier than on A duduk. Once I remember trying for the first time, I guess, I tried duduk in F. That was made by the maker Sivada, and I was surprised how easy it was with the halftones. I was just blown away by it. This is the key of A. Taking G duduk. And after you get it on G duduk, how to practice the halftones, you will just get them. You can switch again to A duduk, and you will be surprised how much progress you have done. The next point I want to highlight is the relaxation. In the first place of your hands, of course. I will talk more about this on my open YouTube channel, but today I will just mention it a little bit. What I want to say, it's almost impossible to have reliable halftones if your hands are not relaxed. And if your hands are not relaxed, the wrist is also not relaxed. And if the wrist is not relaxed, the elbow is not relaxed, or the opposite. If the elbow is not relaxed, the wrist is not relaxed. Wrist not relaxed, hands are not relaxed. The palm is not relaxed, the fingers are not relaxed. The same also, like it goes up to here, up to the shoulder. It's the whole one mechanism, and if the whole thing is not relaxed, your fingertips and the fingers will be not in a good shape, will be not ready to softly and tenderly play half tones. Put more of your attention consciously into your body when you're playing. So while playing, just see, not control, but just be aware how relaxed you are. How relaxed are your shoulders, your elbows here, the wrists and the palms and the fingers. If you feel tension somewhere, just make a short pause, put Duduk aside and shake your hands. Shake your hands, rub them a little bit, just make a little bit of massage. Maybe give some stretches to your fingers here, give some stretches to the wrist joint. Maybe rotate a little bit your wrists and your elbows and the shoulders as well. And then come back to Duduk. Again, after a couple of minutes, if you feel you're again in tension, again, put Duduk aside, just shake a little bit your hands, shake them. So it's not all about a physical tension, it's a lot about psychic tension, because you don't feel confident in what you are doing. That's why most of the tension comes in. But still, just do these short breaks, even if it is needed quite often. Just do these regular breaks during your practice and shake your hands. This is important. And believe me, if your hands are more relaxed, you feel relaxation here in the whole pose while playing Duduk, and especially in fingers, you'll be surprised how much more effective you will be in playing half tones. So that was my suggestion number 2, my advice number 2. Be aware of how relaxed you are. If you are not relaxed, make a break, shake your hands and start playing again. See that your hands are as relaxed as you only can do it at this moment. My advice number 3 would be about the positioning of your fingers. It's a general advice basically for playing Duduk. It's not only for half tones. Keep your fingers as close to the playing holes as you only can. The closer they are, the easier it will be for you to play half tones better. The shorter is the distance between your finger and the half tone, the higher is the chance that the half tone you're playing is gonna be much more in tune. Just compare this position, playing half tone, like you need more time even, and this position. The finger is more relaxed in this position when you are closer to the half tone, and you are quicker and you are more reliable. The next advice I can give you, and this is actually the king of all advices and queen of all suggestions I could give to you right now, the master advice. Practice more. Very simple, very challenging, I know, but we are talking now about breaking into a next level of your practice. And every time you are breaking into something new, a bigger amount of energy is requested to spend on it. It's in every aspect of life like that, but here I want to really challenge you and make you to ask yourself how important is Duduk for you, how much interest do you have, and if you can cut a little bit of your time of pointless scrolling in the phone during the daytime and just give this time to Duduk practice. Can you do it? Can you afford it? Are you interested enough? Like, just make it double, if you are practicing 1 hour a week, let's say, or so, which is of course not enough, it's out of question, but just make it to 2 hours a week. Can you do it? And this practicing more, it will answer most of your questions. It will answer not only like knowledge questions which you have about Duduk, about the physics and about the reeds and this Duduk and reed combination, but it also will sort of automatically attune your body to practice. Many of your questions will be answered by yourself intuitively and automatically. So my next advice is practice more. Practice more, especially half tones. Half tones are about practice. It's not about understanding something, although I'm giving you all those understandings, but mostly it's about your actual, about your actual practice. It's a next level. You have to accept it. It's a next level. It requires more from you. And when speaking practically about your half tones, put more attention not on how well you are playing every half tone, like how correct you are on pitch, but more about how many repetitions you do, how many attempts of practice. That's why I recommend you to use metronome. If you do exercises, use metronome, because metronome will push you to play more, and more, and not just hang around one half tone which you are not good at this moment, but just play this half tone more, like many times, more and more repetitions, more and more attempts. It's not about how good you are every time you're playing this or that half tone. It's about how many times you do it. My next advice is about sticking to one scale with half tones only. Just, you already know from my tutorials about Shur, Shushtar, Sigya, Charga, and playing those scales from different keynotes, from 5 fingers, from 6 fingers, from 8 fingers, and stuff like that. Choose one of them. Choose, let's say, Shushtar from 5 fingers or Shushtar from 6 fingers. Don't be wobbly like this, jumping from one scale to another one, jumping from one keynote to another keynote. Say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, practice only one scale. Because half tones, they like this multiple repetitions. There are even retreats in the East where you can come and you just spend, I don't know, a couple of weeks of playing only one makam, so one scale, like that you grow into this scale. You will do it more mechanically, more automatically, and you don't need to think anymore of what you are doing there. So you will be able to start improvising in this scale, which kind of enriches your playing a lot. Choose a melody of your heart, a melody which you really like, which will motivate you to play this scale more and more. Take a melody and start learning it, and learn it from beginning to the end. Choose something which is not very rich in ornaments, just this scale, let's say Shushtar. Take any melody which you like, a simple melody in Shushtar, and play only in this finger position from this keynote for a couple of weeks. This will help you. You have already wasted so much time of doing some ineffective things, just repeating some ineffective tools, doing your practice basically ineffectively. Now you can afford yourself to spend a couple of weeks just on doing only one scale, and then you jump to another scale, then you go to another scale, like this. There are not so many scales, not many fingers positions where while playing most of Armenian melodies. So you can afford yourself to spend a couple of weeks just for only one. My next advice would be that you challenge yourself, and not in only the way that you practice more, as I suggested before, but just observe yourself a little bit. We all tend to come to some kind of comfort zone where we feel okay, even if we are not successful. And it's so difficult to kick yourself out of it. This is what I'm suggesting here. Do something else. Don't do just always the same routine. If you never learned any melody from beginning to the end, do it. If you never practice exercises, practice exercises. If you never practice exercises with metronome, still you are practicing, but without metronome, so try to do it with metronome. My next advice would be, if you choose to use tuner for checking how correct are your half tones, just do it only on the very early stages of your half tones practice. Don't do it for a long time. Basically, just don't get this bad habit. If your hearing is not reliable, if you know that your hearing ability is not that good, on the early stages you can just check yourself with the tuner. Download a tuner application for your phone and see. Of course, in this case you have to be really on pitch, so choose the right drone, correct drone. You can download those drones from everywhere, from my Patreon or from YouTube, from wherever you find, or play it from some application that you download. Just the drone should be really on a correct note. If it is a B note, it should be B, not sharper, not flatter. Then check it with the tuner. Okay, the drone is good, and only then start to practice. And then check your half tones with the tuner. As I said, it's quite a bad habit when people start doing it with the tuner, and then they really kind of are very, very slow in learning half tones because they keep using this tuner and always checking with the tuner if you are correct or not correct. Your hearing will develop by yourself if you play more. But in the beginning, if you really don't trust your hearing, check it with a tuner. And later, just keep it aside, this tuner, forget about it after a couple of days maybe of practicing this or that half tone, and start recording and monitoring your recording. This is a very important point, and I realized it for myself. Before I never did it, and I did not know why should I do that, because I felt when I play half tone I can already hear when I'm out of tune and when not. And then only when I was recorded a couple of times, I was like, come on, it's really, I'm like not hearing myself at all when I play. These are two different levels of perception. When you play, live playing, and you feel like, okay, I'm in tune, and when you record yourself, even with your phone, and then you monitor yourself, even without tuner, you just listen to yourself, and you will see so many cases when you are out of tune, but you thought you are in tune. I don't know why, but these are really two different perceptions. It will give you a wider understanding of what you are doing wrong and where you are already good, so you don't need to practice this where you are already good more and more, but just to focus yourself on the weak points. Even if you are doing this monitoring without tuner, without checking. If you want, you can check it with tuner, of course, but this recording and monitoring, just bring this into your, let's say, maybe not daily do practice, but kind of regularly do it. My next point is about how we approach a half tone. There are basically two ways to approach it. One is coming more from like countries like India, probably, and another one is from Armenia. Of course, we play Armenian duduk, and we kind of should tend to be closer to Armenia. But from my experience, because I also studied a little bit playing Indian Bansuri, they have a different approach to these things, to coming from one note to another. And in India, they use a lot of this coming into the note by sliding into it, like opening the hole slowly. This doesn't sound Armenian, but it will help you a lot to achieve the correct half tones. And when you can do it slowly, later you will be able to do it fast. In Armenian music, they are mostly like you jump into the half tones straight from the note. Like that. But in India, they prefer this. You see, there is a big difference, of course, in the feeling. The atmosphere of what you are doing here is very different, and Armenian musicians who would listen to this, they would say, no, this is not Armenian. And even my teacher sometimes tells me, Karuna, this is not Armenian way, so you more sound like Indian. But for many of us, it's not that important that we sound like Armenians, no? I know that for many Westerners who doesn't come from Armenian culture, it's just not that important, because anyway you are playing in some other style than the usual traditional Armenian style, isn't it? This is just my way of playing, and I enjoy playing like that. And if you can make use of this advice, just make use of it. Because if you cannot just do it immediately, so it is difficult to do it in the beginning. But if you learn some particular composition, like let's say Overnan Khan, no? You have to do this phrase in the tempo it was meant to be played in. But there are also other phrases where you can kind of easily break the tempo. It will not hurt the composition that much. You know what I mean? I mean, it will slow down the tempo, and it will not sound as traditional as it should sound, but it will help you to not make a mistake in the half tone. Because for me, for the perception of a listener, it is much worse to hear a wrong half tone instead of you breaking a little bit the tempo of the composition. Okay, in this phrase it's not possible. But here we can do something. See. Sliding gives you time to hear where to stop, you know, because mostly normally we are sharp and half tones. We kind of do not stop ourselves at the point where we should to stop by while opening the half tone. You know? So we are kind of doing it longer in terms of time than it was needed. And here, when you are doing it slowly, you hear yourself where you stop. This is my next advice.